Hi, and welcome to LAMA. In this video, I'll show you how to deploy a real-time cloud-based audio workflow using LAMA software, AWS, and NDI Bridge. We'll launch a cloud instance from our LAMA AMI, set up MIDI and audio routing between local and cloud machines, and build a bidirectional link. Whether you're running remote productions, building cloud-native workflows, or just testing the limits of what's possible, this is your blueprint. Let's dive in. I start by logging into my AWS account and choosing the deployment region. In this case, I'll use North Virginia, but pick the one closest to your audience or studio location to reduce latency. Then I head to the AMIs tab and select my pre-built image. This is the Bring Your Own License version of our LAMA AMI. If you don't have your own LAMA license, there's also a version you can subscribe to hourly and a version for monthly subscription. I click Launch Instance, name the instance, and pick the size. If you're doing real-time audio with multiple channels and heavy processing, we recommend to go with the M7A.2x large or higher. You'll get lower jitter. I will take this one for this video. I select my key pair and double-check my network settings, especially the security group. I select DCV plus NDI Bridge. It is a security group which I've created before. You can create yourself one regarding your needs. Your security group must allow on inbound rules. TCP port 8443 for DCV, if you want to use DCV to connect. UDP 5353 for NDI Bridge Auto Discovery, TCP and UDP 5990 for NDI Bridge Audio, and MIDI Transport. I also mirror this one on the outbound rules. If you're unsure whether these ports are working, you can test them later inside NDI Bridge. Finally, I hit Launch. Back in the EC2 dashboard, I click Connect, choose the RDP tab, and download the .rdp file. Then I decrypt the admin password using the key pair I chose earlier. Before connecting, I check the audio settings in Remote Desktop. Under Local Resources Remote Audio, I select Play on Remote Computer. This avoids audio redirection conflicts with virtual devices like Loop MIDI later on. I log in and I'm now inside the Windows Cloud machine. Once logged in, I see the tools installed as part of our LAMA AMI. LAMA Mix, Virtual Mixing Engine, LAMA Connect, Patch Bay and Protocol Converter, Loop MIDI for creating virtual MIDI loop for internal routing, NDI Tools, used here only for NDI Bridge, only audio and not the video. I open Loop MIDI and confirm that 4 loops are pre-created. 2 labeled Ground to Cloud, and 2 labeled Cloud to Ground. These act like invisible MIDI cables, letting me route MIDI in both directions across LAMA Mix. You can add more if needed, but the default setup works well for connecting 2 controllers. I open LAMA Connect and LAMA Mix. When they are open, I see that LAMA Mix is trying to send data to the ground. In LAMA Connect, I see 2 NDI receivers and 2 NDI senders. These are the cloud system's ears and mouth. They handle audio in and out via NDI. Here's how it's routed. NDI input 1 to 8 goes into LAMA Mix. Mix output 1 to 2 routes to NDI sender 1, the program out, and mix output 3 and 4 routes to NDI sender 2, the aux or monitor out. For MIDI, the NDI stream brings in the data. That goes into a loop MIDI input, and then this MIDI loop into LAMA Mix MIDI device. In LAMA Mix, I confirm that the audio device is sent to LAMA ASIO. This is the virtual sound card optimized for cloud, because the cloud computer itself doesn't have a physical sound card. It is also set up in Connect. The MIDI input and output activated are ground to cloud 1 and the output cloud to ground 1. And in the MIDI control that on the Mackie MCU, the main controller, the loop ground to cloud 1 as the input and cloud to ground 1 as the output. If you need more than one controller, you can use the second line with the second loop. This setup means the cloud machine is ready to receive audio and MIDI from the ground, process it, and send it back in real time. Now I switch to the on-prem computer. Before anything else, I forward port 5990 on my router, both TCP and UDP. This is the port NDI Bridge uses to connect to the cloud and local machines. In Reaper, I create a session with 8 outputs, 4 stereo music tracks with different styles to test clarity and channel separation. Back to LAMA Connect. I choose my sound card as the audio device in LAMA Connect and route Reaper's output into it, just to verify the audio is clean and balanced before sending it. I prefer to do it with my ears to check everything is sounding okay, but a quick check with the surround plugin node is also possible. You can find this under Utilities, Surround plugin. I can now see audio on the VU meter. I plug in my V1M icon mixer, which acts as a hardware MIDI controller. It's detected instantly. Inside LAMA Connect, I create a MIDI input node, select the device, and patch it into a MIDI logger to verify data. Moving a fader shows a stream of MIDI messages. Then I connect all Reaper outputs into LAMA NDI Sender, and connect the MIDI input into the same NDI Sender. Now both audio and MIDI are bundled and ready for the bridge. I create an NDI stream in the LAMA NDI Sender by double-clicking on it, and I will name it Main, and then click Apply. Your feed is created. On the ground machine, I open NDI Bridge, select Host Mode, and name the session LAMA AWS Bridge. Using port 5990, if your previous setup on the port is good and you activate the option Verify my public IP, you will have a green check alongside the port. If you got a warning sign, the port is not open. Enter an encryption key, and I choose Cloud Test. Click Start. NDI checks my public IP and confirms the port is open. In the cloud, I open NDI Bridge and select Join Mode. I input the IP, port, and the same encryption key, and I click Join. If all is correct, the bridge is connected. Back on the cloud machine, I open LAMA Connect's NDI Receiver and see the stream LAMA AWS Bridge/main. I select it and instantly see audio flowing into LAMA Mix. To check MIDI, I open a MIDI logger, patch it into the NDI receiver, and move a fader on the remote mixer on ground so we can see MIDI data coming in. Since LAMA Mix already listens to loop MIDI in the bass configuration, fader motion appears inside the mixer window. In LAMA Connect, I patch mix outputs 1 and 2 to the NDI Sender node, and MIDI from loop MIDI to the same NDI Sender. I name this stream Out Cloud 1 and click Apply. The signal is now going back to the ground. On the ground machine in LAMA Connect, I create a new NDI receiver and I select Out Cloud 1. Then I open a MIDI input node, connect it to the receiver, and route it to the V1M mixer. I then patch a surround plugin to verify that the audio is coming back. Now I move a fader in LAMA Mix in the cloud, and the remote mixer on the ground location responds. MIDI in and out of the cloud is now confirmed. With everything connected, we now have audio and MIDI flow from ground to cloud, and process signals returning from cloud to ground. And we also have hardware control on one end, and which moves the software on the other, and vice versa. This setup allows a sound engineer to mix from anywhere, using a physical control surface, while the audio engine runs entirely in the cloud with bidirectional audio and MIDI data. Scalable, efficient, and ready for production. Thank you for your time, and I hope this video was useful for you. Happy audio producing!